Raised by Wolves Season 3 prediction video. We're going to be throwing out milk. We're going to be throwing out snakes. We're going to be throwing out de-evolved stuff. We're going to be talking about suns. We're going to be talking about cores. We're going to talk about androids. We're going to be talking about... Let's go.
You get a theory, and you get a theory, and you get a theory.
Hey everybody, welcome back to AsArt with Nick, John, and our special guest and resident expert, Kyle. So, when we throw out some theories, do we know what's going on? Definitely not, but it's fun to talk about.
I am barely hanging on. No, okay.
And if you guys are Raised by Wolves fans and this is your first time viewing, we have covered every episode of Season 2 and we covered a lot of Season 1 on our channel. Subscribe so you get all the updates to Raised by Wolf content. And we have our amazing artist here, Kyle, Pecos with a 0, doing some cool Raised by Wolves, hopefully shirts and products coming up. So we're super excited. We're super stoked. Go check out his Instagram to see progress on different art pieces. Let's go. I'm so excited about these predictions. I just want to predict all over.
Nick, you want to predict all over. Careful with that, buddy. All right. That's messy. It gets in fabrics. It's pretty bad.
Milk
like milk.
everywhere. He goes, we're going to spew milk. I'm
Okay.
like,
One thing I just want to say, I called John right away because I was like, when I was editing one of our comment videos, I was going through Season 1 footage and I was like, the logo for the Mithraic is red. It's like a red sun. I'm like, the planet core. I'm like, John, it's not a sun. It's the core.
That's no moon. It's like Star Wars, that's no moon.
Anyways, I just thought oh my gosh, this
That's
whole
no
time
sun.
we think it's the sun where Marcus is led to the power of the sun. He wakes up in the morning and he for the sun rays. I honestly think it's the core. I think it's the core now. And it's always red too, right? It's mostly red or gold, I guess, depending on how they do the thing. But it's I think that's the core. Am I crazy?
No. Well, no, I think that's pretty reasonable if you think about it.
And it's cool because we've gotten
realm.
a look at it at this point, at the end of Season 1. We got a solid look at it, and if we just zoomed out, we'd probably get a more, understandable look at it. It's like, oh, that is actually maybe what it is. When Nick told me that, of all his crazy theories, I'm like, he might have it there. That might actually be what it is. It's like, yeah, that was good. And then expert Kyle on the last video actually said, it actually looks like it might be the core. I'm like, whoa, two crazy people, or they two really intelligent people in this world. It could be either way.
It could go both ways.
Yeah, okay. It could go both ways. And /or, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go through some topics. I want to get John and Kyle's opinion on some theories. What's going to happen with these topics in the next season, hopefully we get another season. Oh my gosh, we better get another season. Okay, so we're going to talk about the writing that Viral left behind on the tree. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think is going to happen with that in Season 3?
Okay, so one thing is that Campion only got a fraction of what she wrote with the berry juice, basically, right? So the or as John likes to call it, the juju bees or something
gummy. Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Come on, man.
What character was that? No, okay. Come on, man. No, okay. You got me just no. So the thing is that's supposed to be the original Vril's diaries from Earth, right?
Her mom stuff, or is it the original Vril's?
I think it's Viral's diary, but it's documenting her mom Decima's work.
Yeah, okay. I think so.
Okay.
Correct us down below, but continue on. Go with it.
Very just spur of the moment.
So that's the thing is that it's only a fraction of it. So is that tree going to come back, or is that the last we've seen of that? They're just going to have that fragment, right?
So the sentence is going to read, the most important thing is, great, we ran out of juju juice.
No,
the second most important thing is, we ran out of juice again.
And she was
dang
writing
it, you guys.
Long.
Yeah.
And then when Paul read it, he was like, yeah, it's just basic stuff.
Earth stuff. You know.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
In the castle of...
If it said that, I would be so pleased.
Yeah.
Why would he take the time to write? He's dying.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't given too much thought to that yet, just because we don't know anything about it. All we know about the mother is that she had created weapons that helped aid in the destruction of Earth, and the real daughter was so upset with that
Yeah.
she basically killed herself. So we know it's some bad stuff, but that might lead us to weaponry that could be extremely useful to some entity in some way or another.
Maybe the core, right? Maybe the core wants to escape, and the only way to do that is by destroying the planet. We had some amazing comments and comment videos too.
Yeah.
Definitely could be a possibility for the end game to destroy the planet so he can break free.
Raised by wolves in game.
This is something I mentioned in our last comment video, but I think the serpent was good overall, and I think the serpent was trying to warn Campion of impending doom in the ocean. And then are we going to see more serpents? So basically the serpent, mother kills him, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but shouldn't be here on this video. But I don't think you could talk about the show without saying spoilers at all, like in any sentence in Raised by Wolves. But so he eats the fruit, which it seems like he's doing a good thing, and then obviously it turns him into Megatron or whatever, destroying. But
Mega Serpent.
So basically, I guess where I'm going with that is, what do you guys think is going to be the future of serpents on the planet? You think there's going to be another attempt to have another serpent? You think grandmother's going to be the host of the serpent? You think mother's going to get impregnated again because she's in the simulation again? Is that going to be like round 2?
Pregnancy, round 2. No, sorry.
If we get another serpent, I think it'll be a season or so, just because I think that would take away from the importance of mother, destroying number 7 and things like that. If we just, and at the first episode of next season, here's another serpent. It's like, well, okay, you just cheapened, the whole season and an episode, or season and a half of building up to having the serpent, arc. But we've seen multiple kind of serpent indicators, so it would make sense that wouldn't be the only one.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we've seen hints of past serpents before, and also like just this serpent, just number 7, right? Like was like part force of nature, part merger of biology and technology, right? And like also like in a metaphorical sense, it's essentially the serpent next to the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? And because usually the serpent, if we think about it, isn't the corruptor. It's just the one that spoke to Eve and tempted her, right? So like it sort of leads you to the act of acquiring more knowledge, right? So maybe this is the snake's function, like what Nick was saying, right? That like perhaps it was trying to tell Campion something, trying to point him in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Right?
He's like, brother, come back, brother. Get away from me.
But brother, please.
I love how he has this little boy, Tiny Tim, tiny serpent number 7. That's
okay.
hilarious.
So we ended with the big upside down twist, Marcus. Basically, Marcus is upside down. He's floating. He's dripping. And I mentioned in previous videos too, what if it was a vision? Because like vision seems so real in this world. It's not like something drastically changes or something. Like visions just like turn on and off, I feel like, in this universe right now. So did Lucius really see that happen? Was that a vision? I don't know. Let's this Marcus theory it out. Let's go for it.
So I think that, so what's interesting is I think we're going to start to see Lucius be more of a main character, or like he's going to assume the role of Marcus, should I say. So the thing is that if we go with your vision theory, right? Lucius is essentially, he's going to be like, I saw a vision and I know what Soul is trying to tell me. I must seek the sword, right? And so he's probably going to go off on some sort of freaking Excalibur quest or something to try and find this sword.
It's like Zelda, right? It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Right. Exactly. That's what Soul was saying.
Good reference.
All right.
Like yeah. I hope we do get more Lucius. I did like his character. I like that he appeared at the end. I mean, he could be a throwaway character. He was just a way that we get Marcus to this next stage of his character development, but he's been a good enough character that I think it'd be good to see him play a more active role. Refresh me again on the overall.
Marcus. We're just our predictions for season 3 for Marcus.
Yeah,
is he dead? I mean, that could be a great question too. Like, is
Marcus
dead? You think he's dead? I think his lip was moving. Go on.
I think we really did see him floating. I think that would be too much of audience misdirection, and at that point it would be lying to us if, okay, we see all this weird stuff happen to him. We only get a glimpse for a few seconds. And by the way, it wasn't real either. I feel like that would be too much. Like that would be betraying the audience's trust. But at the same time, he seemed like he was dead. I don't, you know what? I think he's an important enough character that he's still going to be alive, but is he changed? Is he, spoiler from Game of Thrones, is he changed when he comes back? I guess is the different thing. And is he going to be permanently altered as a person?
So Jon Snow reference. Love it.
Now I got to ask, betray the audience's trust in what sense, though?
Oh, as far as, okay, we only gave you a few seconds of seeing this thing.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of next season, we're going to let you know, actually, this thing we showed you for a few seconds, you actually didn't even see that. It was actually just a vision of Lucius just freaking out and seeing a hallucination. That's what I mean. Like, go ahead.
I mean, well, it's interesting because, like, what Nick said makes a lot of sense with, like, how hallucinations work. Like, now, of course, if Nick hadn't mentioned that, I probably would have been in John's camp, right? But since we're discussing that, perhaps that's what Ridley Scott wants. He wants people to talk and converse about this and connect the dots.
And the writer of the show, Ridley Scott, just kind of is overseeing.
You're right. Yeah. There are plenty of writers and actually a few directors.
Yeah.
For this, yeah.
A lot of directors. There's the one main writer, and I think they're just divvying it up against directors. Yeah.
All right, guys, you guys ready? The next big thing.
Sure. Let's do it.
What's going to happen with the baby? You know what I mean? Like that's a big question, right? It's the first life form born on the planet.
Yeah, no, this is an easy one.
Season 3 predictions.
Yeah,
yes.
this is an easy one.
Easy
the baby.
One.
Yeah. The baby. Okay, so you know what number 7, the snake, was to us, right? For like the first 2 seasons. This baby is going to be the aquatic version of the snake, whatever that is, right? The next season.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
But do you think whatever impregnated mother is the same on the same team as grandmother, though?
To be honest, I think there's a lot more teams than
because think about it. The reason why I think grandmother got mad about the serpent or got her attention was once it had emotions, right? Then she's like, "Oh, this is a wild card. This isn't just like a trained killer kind of thing." Like it seemed like she was like, "Ooh, it has emotions." We know this baby's going to have emotions because it's human. So like if this is grandmother's plan, but unless they're de-evolving from an early stage,
it's human, but it's also now mutating. Remember, it's starting to get those webbed hands. It's gotten some of that mother's milk from the teat of the aquatic mother, right? So now it's starting.
So the mutation, is it caused by milk and food, or is it caused by grandmother altering DNA?
Ooh,
don't know yet. Yeah.
Right.
So hopefully we find that on season 3. But what would be your guys' guess if you had to pick one? Because this is a prediction video.
It would be. So that's the thing. The milk is actually tied to grandmother's meddling because the milk, all creatures that have that sort of permeate the devolution juice. Right.
I honestly,
listen to me. I'm an insane man. Okay, the insanity really does rub off.
I think it's grandmother altering the DNA, and I think she's going to be using the video game as an altering DNA process too. Like it's I think it's all done kind of through code because even mother mentioned humans could be reprogrammed.
Right, and remember though, remember how DNA works, right? I mean, like you don't have to do it for you don't have to incept new genetic instructions to a population. You can put it into a first precursor generation and then have those generations permeate that information later on, right? Hence why I'm saying the mother's milk in the aquatic creature.
That goes right into my next section, the video game. Predictions on the video game. What the video game's all about.
Video game. Yeah, that's you know what? That video game is interesting. I wanted to play it because it just looked like a bunch of nebula. They were just
like the people on Kepler.
Yeah.
Do you also want to jump into warm water, Kyle?
You're scaring us, buddy. You're scaring us.
Do you also want to jump into warm water because you feel like it's warmer than outside?
You're scaring us now, Kyle. One thing I thought that was interesting, I thought the pods are going to be used in season 3. Okay. And I think grandmother's going to start putting humans into pods too. Like if the human gets too much knowledge or gets too far out of hands, I think the pod's going to be used as a containment area to maybe, for strong-minded, willed people to advance their process of de-evolving, or maybe if they got the high score in the video game, they earn access to the pod.
Whoa!
Access to the pod. Oh
Access
my gosh!
to
Now
the
Nick is
pods.
going off into Nick theory territory.
We have to.
Now,
This is a season 3 prediction for Raised by
Yeah.
Wolves, John. We have to go there. Sue turned
I'll
into
go-
a tree.
Oh my god! You know what? That's I can't argue with that.
Actually, wait a minute. Wait. Maybe we can partially answer this question. So, what were the hibernation pods originally for? Just for bridging space travel, basically?
It's-
I think so.
And I think it
don't
was
know.
so they can all hang out together for space travel. Because once they were all tapped in, they were all able to play
that's
around.
right.
And
They're
stuff
all
like
they all
that.
had this shared VR space, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. So, I think Nick's on the right track. That grandmother might use that as a sort of prison, right? Like
She's
a
using it
shared
as a prison right now. technically.
Exactly. No, I mean, yeah, right. Yeah,
Multiple inmates,
mother
yes,
is
yeah.
Spoilers.
inmate 1 in this VR
Yes,
prison.
inmate 1. Yeah, we're gonna get a good old fashioned breakout
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
That's
tonight.
awesome.
There's going to be a jailbreak. Okay, okay. Flashbacks. Predictions for flashbacks. Because
Oh
we
my
know we're
gosh.
gonna get flashbacks. Come on, guys,
I-
go crazy.
I really want to see some flashback. I want to see the source of the signal when it first interacted
Oh.
with the human population, right? And when they first received the message of soul, right?
Mm.
And how it sort of sowed discord amongst the human race.
They're talking
Earth.
about a flash
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Way at the back.
A flash way back, I believe.
A flash way
So
back.
I wonder how far back we're gonna go, because the only time we really got flashbacks with Mother was when she was in the pod, right?
We also got some with Marcus and
Those were humans, though, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
So the human flashbacks just happen with the humans, but whenever it's an android, I feel like it happened in the pod because it like reactivated old memories.
Hmm.
I mean, which is super awesome because beginning of season 3 can be fantastic flashback zone. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
like so much flashbacking going on.
So
that is a perfect time to do it, and it seems like we would get some of that with Mother. I mean, that's the universal time when you get flashback. When Neo was out of commission in between movies, he had weird flashback stuff, not flash, but he had weird experiences going on in between stuff. And I know that from that interview with the writer that he was saying he wants to have some flashbacks to Earth in season 3. So we'll get some stuff to Earth, but I don't know how far back it would be. Is it during the war? Is it way before that? Is it in the golden era of Earth before all this stuff happened? And where does that fit in the story? I'm not.
Yeah.
Just because he wants to have that, it sounds like he wanted to have that in season 2 and they didn't have the budget. They may say the same thing for season 3 too, and it might just get pushed away. So it all depends on, does this get greenlit, and then what does it get greenlit for as far as budgetary, constraints on it, and how many episodes too.
true.
They might get greenlit for a really good budget, but you have to do that in 8 episodes again, which means
Yeah.
that you don't maybe have time to do that. So it's going to be interesting how much time they have to explore that stuff.
yeah, that's a good point, John. There's a lot of real world constraints that might affect certain things.
And it's a bummer because we want to. It's such a fascinating world that we could go really, really deep into. But again, like how many answers do we really, really want? Even after 5 seasons, and we
Yeah.
get this to a complete
I
conclusion.
want them all, and I want them now.
If we get everything, we might not be as satisfied if we have some stuff to talk about like we do now.
Yeah. It's like the song from Willy Wonka, right? Give it to me now. Okay, so guys, fruit. What's going to happen with the fruit in season 3? Like, do you think there's even going to be a payoff for it? Like, all the fruit's gone. Whatever's left is in the fruit. What do I call it? The fruit truck.
The fruit truck, yeah.
That's
I
right.
call it the fruit
Yeah.
truck. So, like, whatever is left, unless they ate it all up and it's all gone. But do you think the fruit's going to have a purpose? You think that's just going to be like pushed to the side, like, oh, maybe this fruit thing's not such a good idea, kind of thing?
At this point, Campion did not eat the fruit. He's showing signs of devolving. The baby, depending on where the baby's, devolution is happening from, the baby hasn't eaten the fruit. The people that ate the fruit, are they devolving too? We haven't had enough exposure to know if they're devolving as well.
That's a
yet.
good question. That's a great question, and I think you're onto something, John. think you're.
So? I don't know.
I think you're onto something.
What if the whole purpose of the fruit was to create the prophet, which would be Marcus?
Maybe. But
like, it's just someone had to eat the fruit in order to, because wasn't the prophecy like you eat the fruit and then you build the city, or like the prophet comes and you build the city or something like that? There was like something with the prophecy, but anyways, go on.
Right. I mean, like, well, here's the thing. I mean, like, also the city could be a metaphor for just building something, right? Like, I don't, because, I think John's on the right track. I mean, I don't even know, like what you're talking about, Nick. That might be like two or three steps forward, and like with John asking the question, like, all right, so like, did anything happen? Are the people that ate the fruit, are they devolving or not? If they're not, then that means there's properties in it that protects them, right, from this devolution, right? So, which would kind of validate all the stuff that kind of happened with the tree and Sue and all this stuff, you know.
Which would make sense, because it would make sense that maybe the snake wanted to stop it so they would not be able to de-evolve, and maybe that's the core fighting grandmother at that point.
Right.
And by the way, at the end of this, I do have just not maybe a theory, but an idea overall on the entity as a whole, based on Joseph Campbell stuff. But
nice, that's gonna be good.
Yeah,
dude, John, you're gonna stick around to the end. John's going to close us out with a home run.
No.
You can take that to the bank.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, but, so the box with the eyes. Oh, sorry. No, do you want to talk more on the fruit? Okay. The box with the eyes. Do you think we'll get anything from the box? Is another song going to be sung? Let us know.
So, yeah, the box, I mean, I don't think we've had more than 20 seconds of that on screen, so I guess we don't know enough about that at all yet. But
you know what?
It's going to play a huge role, of course.
Because I completely don't remember that at all.
Because grandmother snatched it away right away. She's like, "Give me that box." So she obviously was like, "No, mine."
Do you remember? So the firework goes off, and there's a hole in the ground, and the little girl picks up the box,
and there's eyes on it.
Grandmother takes the.
Okay, yeah. Wow, jeez.
Okay. Our expert,
God.
Kyle.
Yeah. I'm just over here just lounging on this couch, you know.
Yeah.
You
Too comfy.
look good on it, though. You look good.
Okay.
Yeah, and that shirt looks good on you. By the way, if you guys want to get that shirt, go to AsArt.space. All right, guys.
You can't turn it off with this one. I love it. Okay. All right.
All right. My final one, then I'll let John hit it out of the park. Do you think there's two voices? Am I crazy? Is that just a crazy cuckoo theory that's going on in my head? Do you think there's two powers at play here fighting each other, or you think it's just one power and then you have the opposition, which could be grandmother, mother, and other stuff like that?
So Kyle, do you want to start it off?
Yeah, so I think it's actually the same voice, and it's being contradictory to certain people because it goes into its Machiavellian scheme of some way. Now, with grandmother, I think we have to consider her ancientness, right? She might be going off of an older directive that is no longer relevant, right? Because we don't know what Soul's been up to, if he's changed plans, if he's progressed forward. Yeah, so that's the thing. If he's progressed forward with his plans, and she's kind of going off of old information. So that's kind of the questions I ask, right? Is it's like, can this be clarified in any way in season 3? But yeah,
I like that a lot. The idea, like, he destroyed Mother, like, this plan sucked. I'm gonna throw it in this cave.
Yeah.
He like threw it in the cave, and Father's like, "Ooh, what is this?"
I like the voice. The voice is good. I like the voice of Father. That was really good.
I call it Botanitech. Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? Kyle's actually explanation of the voice of the entity is very much what I was going to say, kind of going back to Joseph Campbell. So if you guys aren't familiar with Joseph Campbell, so he kind of wrote a couple books. One's called The Hero with 1,000 Faces, and he took all of the ancient religions and current religions and theology and everything, and he broke it down into common themes. So you take all these myths, and what do they share in common? So all these great, religions have a flood myth and things like that. And so he tried to break things down, compartmentalize. And there was this really good interview called The Power of Myth with, I think it was Bill Moyers, but I might be getting my name wrong. But anyway, he was asked the question, do you think there's a religion that is more correct than the others? And he goes, I view religion as like an elephant way off in the distance. And we're all viewing this elephant through the telescope. And one person sees the trunk of the elephant and you said, this is God. And then someone else sees the ear of the elephant and this is God. And someone sees the leg of the elephant, this is God. And we're all seeing the same God, but we're seeing it in a completely different view. And so you interpret it in your own way. And so what Kyle said is what I'm thinking too, is like, hey, there's maybe one entity and one voice going up, and how it's being interpreted by these different things is how it's actually, coming out here. And so I think that feeds into like the interpretation and how in modern times we're all fighting over what's right and what's wrong, but we actually have a universal view, but we're just interpreting differently. So I think that might be a way that we end up at this, but we'll see.
That's a home run to me.
Yeah. No,
dude, that was awesome.
I like that analogy.
That though a lot.
I like that analogy.
And clearly, just let's make this clear, that's not me. That's Joseph Campbell.
Right.
No, hold on.
Right.
No, John.
No, give the man
that
no
on a
credit.
shirt.
No.
We're putting it on a shirt. We'll put the whole thing on a shirt and quote it as John.
If you guys have never... don't do that
have
again.
you considered the whole elephant, John Blaylock? Like, just like...
No,
what?
If you guys have never looked up Joseph Campbell, he's... standard required reading in film schools and a lot of really good material on his stuff. But it's cool that Kyle kind of said basically the same thing and just in a different word. So
you guys are so smart compared to me. I'm sorry. I've
Next,
led you astray the whole season, guys. Follow John to the right.
All right, you guys. So we had a lot of fun putting out the content. We're going to be trickling out content probably all the way up until we get season 3. If that's 1 year from now, 2 years from now, we're just going to be continuing to put out ideas as far as content from Raised by Wolves. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey for season 2. Check out AsArt.space for all the audio and video links. Check out Pegos with a Zero for all of Kyle's awesome artwork and also possibly shirts coming up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next AsArt. Snake blood.